Dear student, you all are at home, going on with your studies, sitting before the reading desk. So this is your Shakir sir. So for your better understanding today, I am going to read out a poem. The name of that poem is If, written by Rudiad Kipling. You know, Joseph Rudiad Kipling was an Anglo-Indian English poet, and he was very much famous for his inspirational writing, especially for the youngers. You know Rudyard Kipling, a Nobel laureate. He was born in India in December 30, 1865, and he died January 18. He died January 18, that is 1936. So, all through his life, he dedicated his life for the development of literature, and he inspired the young mind with great stoic quality. He was influenced by the Greek philosophy Stoicism. That means never be influenced by pleasure or by pain. We should always remain uninfluenced by pleasure and pain. So now, students who are staying at home, and whenever you read your book, if you go through the poem with me, even at your home, you can understand the poem very beautifully, nicely. And for this purpose, I am gonna making this class so that you can, even staying at home, can study, can understand the poem, and you can answer back whenever you are in the classroom. The students of any place or sports in around Bangladesh or over or in abroad even. Dear students, the poem If by Rudyard Kipling is taken by the NCTB for new curriculum in experiential learning for class 7. So let me first read out the poem for your better understanding. I must read the stanza first, then I will explain the meaning of the poem even in Bengali and English even. If, Rudyard Kipling. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of piece and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, oh, hold on. So, dear young stars, young minds, let me translate it both in English and Bengali. if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of piece and toss. Suppose you are a very much successful one in life, but suddenly somehow because of some reason you have become a failure. So you should not lose your heart. You must keep up your courage. That is the masculinity or manhoodness. The poet encourages you. So if you can make one heap of all your winnings, that means you are a winner in different sectors of your life. And if you collect all the winning objects that you have gained in your life and heap them up, and if you take a coin and toss it like the piece and toss, okay, this is the piece and toss. So let me do it again, piece and toss. So this is the tail. I am loser. So I have been lost. I should not lose my heart. The poet says the losing point will be your restarting point. Never lose your heart, never lose your energy, never lose your mind. You should be indifferent to your lose or your failure. That is very much inspirational force the poet is asking you to be. অর্থাৎ তুমি সমস্ত জীবনের সমস্ত বিজয়কে যদি তুমি এক জায়গায় জড়ো করো এবং তাতে যদি তুমি আগুন জ্বালিয়ে দাও, পুড়িয়ে ফেলো, দ্যাট মিনস তুমি যদি হেরে যাও, সমস্ত জীবনের সফলতা যদি ব্যর্থতায় পর্যবসিত হয় কখনো, তুমি হেরে যাবে না। And lose and start again at your beginnings. এই তোমার যে লুজিং পয়েন্ট হবে তোমার আবার স্টার্টিং পয়েন্ট। And never breathe a word about your loss. Never breathe, never utter. একটা কথাও বলবে না তুমি যে তোমার জীবনে যে অনেক বড় ক্ষতি হয়ে গেল, তোমার সমস্ত বিজয় যে নষ্ট হয়ে গেল, এ ব্যাপারে তুমি কখনোই কোনো দুঃখই প্রকাশ করবে না। তুমি যদি দুঃখ প্রকাশ করো তাহলে তুমি ডিসহার্টেন্ড হবে, তুমি তোমার স্পিরিটকে নষ্ট করে দিচ্ছ। এটা ম্যানলিনেস নয়। So youngsters of class 7, please note very minutely. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew, if you can force your heart, that means be courageous. Raise your chest, raise your heart against all sorts of wind. And nerve, make your nerve stronger. Even standing before the Royal Bengal tiger, you should not get afraid of. And your sinew, that means your muscle, keep your muscle stronger. To serve your turn long after they are gone. যখনই তোমার সমস্ত সফলতা চলে যাবে তখনই তোমার আবার টার্ন আসবে। Start again with vigorousness, with great strength, with great resilience, with great manhoodness that should be. That means the poet asks us to become young, energetic, and strong in mind. To serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you. If you lose everything in your life, if you lose everything in your life, you may not have your residence, you may not have your helping hand beside you, you may not have your parents besides you, your friends besides you. You're alone in the deserted land or in an island of the Pacific Ocean. You have to be alive. You have to go on with your life successfully. So in that case, if you want to become successful, you should not lose your heart. Except the will, which says to them, oh, hold on. You might have lost everything, but you should not lose your will force, will power, তোমার ইচ্ছা শক্তি। তোমার প্রচণ্ড ইচ্ছা শক্তিকে তুমি কখনো হারাবে না। তুমি যদি তোমার ইচ্ছা শক্তি হারিয়ে ফেলো, then you will be loser and weaker. So বন্ধুরা, তোমরা যে যেখান থেকেই আমার এই কবিতাটার এক্সপ্লেনেশন শুনছো, নিশ্চয়ই তোমরা বুঝতে পেরেছো। আমি শব্দের কিছু ওয়ার্ড মিনিংগুলো বলে দিই, যেগুলো ডিফিকাল্ট ওয়ার্ড। ইফ ইউ ক্যান মেক ওয়ান হিপ, হিপ মিনস টু কালেক্ট সামথিং অ্যান্ড পুট ওয়ান আফটার অ্যানাদার, হ্যাঁ, দ্যাট মিনস অ্যাকুমুলেটিং সামথিং। অ্যান্ড রিস্ক ইট, ঝুঁকি নাও। ইন ওয়ান টার্ন অফ পিস অ্যান্ড টস, তুমি যদি হেরে যাও ঝুঁকিতে, লাইফে কোনো কিছু করতে যে যদি তুমি টসে হেরে যাও, তাহলে অ্যান্ড লুজ, মানে তুমি যদি হেরে যাও, অ্যান্ড স্টার্ট এগেইন অ্যাট ইয়োর বিগিনিংস, তাহলে আবার শুরু থেকে তুমি নতুন করে শুরু করো। বুঝতে পেরেছ? জন মিল্টনের প্যারাডাইস লস্টের খুব চমৎকার একটা লাইন আছে, স্যাটান, the great leader of the Beelzebubs, whenever God threw them with hitting with the thunderbolt inside the dungeon, the Satan, to encourage his disciples, asking them and inspiring them, my boys, never mind. So listen to me. Whether it is hell or heaven, it does not matter. You should not lose your heart. That Satan is saying, the mind and place and situation may be changed, but mind should not be changed. Whether it is hell or heaven, it is better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. So what a inspirational, what a courageous influence Satan is saying to his disciples in the dungeon, in the hellfire. So Rudiad Kipling, in that sense, a good inspirational poet. So especially he wrote this poem to his son, but the critic says it is more than that. This is not a poem to a son, but it is a poem by fathers to their sons. So whenever we read this poem, we see stoicism. That means remain uninfluenced whether you are in pleasure or pain. Never lose your self-control, integrity and humility. Act with dignity, act with courage, with great resilience. That is the manhood. So in that sense, the poem was published in perhaps 19th century, early 19th century. So that time, most of the British writers were influenced by the Stoic Greek philosophy, and so I am just telling these things to you. You may not understand what is philosophy. Your mind is very much green and young. So I am just creating a curiosity in you so that you can understand the poem. So become resilient in the face of all adversity in life. Never lose your heart. Never lose your willpower. If you make your willpower stronger, it will help you to become stronger. It will help you kicking the door of success and you will become successful. So get inspired by the poet Rudiad Kipling. He was a great writer even, but in Indian subcontinent there is a very sorrowful story that is with him. This is because he supported the Jallianwala Bagh killing, for which our great poet Rabindranath Tagore returned his knighthood title to the Britishers as a protest. But this poet Rudyard Kipling supported the Jallianwala Bagh killing that was done by the great patriotic people of our Indian subcontinent, their motherland. So we should not think of the poet and his actions or activities, but we should follow what he says. It's a great inspirational poem. We must take in the gist of the poem. That is, be resilient, be courageous, be manlyhood, show your masculinity in every sport of life with great humility, integrity and manhoodness. Thank you, dear student. If you go through the poem with me at home, sitting at home in your reading desk, you can understand the poem successfully. Later I will give you another video explaining the different question answers that could be helpful for you when in the classroom. Thank you, dear friend. Thanks a lot. Pray for me to the Almighty that He may guide me in right path. Assalamu alaikum.